Hey guys, welcome to Cycle 2, Week 21. I am going to do the new grammar for you this week. I hope that you all are doing very well and you're staying safe. I miss you all. Hopefully we'll get to be able to be together real soon. So we're going to go over this week. The first one we're going to do is, for English, we're going to do a conjunction. A conjunction is a word used to connect words, phrases, or clauses together. So a conjunction is a word used to connect words or phrases or clauses together. And our song goes like this. A conjunction is a word used to connect words or phrases or clauses together. That is a conjunction. A conjunction is a word used to connect words or phrases or clauses together. That is a conjunction. A conjunction is a word used to connect words or phrases or clauses together. That is a conjunction. Good job, guys. Our next one we're going to do is math. So math this week we have the associative law for addition and the associative law for multiplication. The associative law for addition states, open parentheses, A plus B, close parentheses, plus C equals A plus open parentheses, B plus C plus close parentheses. And our associative law for multiplication states, open parentheses, A times B, close parentheses, times C equals A times open parentheses, B times C, close parentheses. So let's go over that again. The associative law for addition states, open parentheses, A plus B, close parentheses, plus C equals A plus open parentheses, B plus C, close parentheses. The associative law for multiplication states, open parentheses, A times B, close parentheses, plus or times C equals A times open parentheses, B times C, close parentheses. Okay, so then we are going to go on to Latin. Latin is our first conjugation endings, pluperfect tense. And let me think about the song here for 1 second. Okay, it goes aram, aras, arat, aramis, aratis, arunt. First conjugation, pluperfect tense. Aram, aras, arat, aramis, aratis, arunt. First conjugation, pluperfect tense. Aram, aras, arat, aramis, aratis, arunt. First conjugation, pluperfect tense. Good job, guys. Then we will go into, let me pull this over for you guys so you can see it a little bit better. We're going to do science. What is the third law of thermodynamics? So we're going to get our threes, okay? These are our threes for our third law. Third law of thermodynamics explains that it is impossible to reach the state of absolute zero temperature. So what is the third law of thermodynamics? The third law of thermodynamics explains that it is impossible to reach the state of absolute zero temperature? Let's try that again. Get our threes. What is the third law of thermodynamics? The third law of thermodynamics states that it is impossible to reach the state of absolute zero temperature. Sorry. Okay, one more time. What is the third law of thermodynamics? The third law of thermodynamics explains that it is impossible to reach the state of absolute zero temperature. Okay. History. You guys can play your song on your CDs or on your phone. I'm actually using my phone to record, so you guys can listen to the song on there, but I'll read it to you and I'll show you the hand motions. So tell me about the end of the Cold War. So we're talking about the Cold War, okay? Tell me about the end of the Cold War. In the 1980s, British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and American President Ronald Reagan worked together to end the Cold War, lessen big government, and strengthen conservative movement. So our hand motions, we're going to get out our, for our 1980s, we're going to get out our 8 and our 0. So in the 1980s, British, we're going to shake the palm of our hand like we did before for British. British Prime Minister Margaret, we're going to make an M. Thatcher, we're going to make a T. And American President Ronald, make one R. Reagan, make the other R. Work together to end, we're going to end the Cold War. Lessen big government. So we're going to get our big government and we're going to lessen it. Lessen big government and strengthen the conservative movement. So we're going to move over, okay? So in the 1980s, British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and American President Ronald Reagan worked together to end the Cold War, lessen big government, and strengthen the conservative movement. Let's try that one more time. Tell me about the end of the Cold War. In the 1980s, British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and American President Ronald Reagan worked together to end the Cold War, lessen big government, and strengthen the conservative movement. So that song goes pretty fast and it's a really fun song to dance to. So if you guys want to dance to it and try to get your hand motions in, you can. But some of the hand motions, especially when it comes down to end the Cold War, it gets real funny there. So it's real funny. You got to end the Cold War. It goes real fast. Okay. And then let's do our timeline and then we'll do our geography. So our timeline this week, we have World War II and President Franklin D. Roosevelt. So for World War II, just like we've been doing for the past couple weeks, WW2 and Franklin D. Roosevelt, we're going to make our F, our D, and our R. So World War II and Franklin D. Roosevelt. Stalin of the USSR and the Acadian Massacre. So for Stalin, we're going to make our mustache again. Stalin. And the USSR, we're going to act like we're shooting our gun. We're going to take our gun with our palm up and just push it down. For the USSR. And the Acadian Massacre, for massacre, we're going to take our palms and jump them forward. So Stalin and the USSR and the Acadian Massacre. The United Nations formed. Just going to put our two fingers together to link them together. United Nations formed. The Cold War, just like we did for history, Cold War. Gandhi in India's independence. For Gandhi, we're going to make a G. Gandhi. India, just as before, we're going to point to our forehead. India's independence. We're going to take our arms like this, like for bondage, and set them free. Gandhi in India's independence. Jewish state established. For Jewish, we're going to pull our beard. Jewish. State, make our S. And establish, just like we did for law, we're going to take our palm and our S and we're going to move it from the top to the bottom. Jewish state established. And Mao and communist victory in China. For Mao, we're going to make our letter M. Communist victory, we're going to do what we did for communism, just point our fist out. In China, we're going to make our buttons on our uniform. So we're going to Mao and the communist victory in China. Okay, let's go through these one more time. World War II and Franklin D. Roosevelt. Stalin of the USSR and the Acadian Massacre. The United Nations formed. The Cold War. Gandhi in India's independence. Jewish state established. Mao and communist victory in China. Okay, guys. And our last thing we have is our geography. Our geography this week, if you can see my map, we are doing Central America. In Central America, we have Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. So we are going to look down here between the Americas. We're going to look between North America and South America. There's this little piece of islands down here. So in this piece of islands, this is it blown up here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Off to the left here is a little bigger piece, and this is Guatemala. Beside it, we have Belize. Real small underneath of Guatemala, we have El Salvador. Right next to it, we have Honduras. And underneath of that, we have Nicaragua. Ugh, it's a tongue twister, guys. So my little story for you today goes like this. Mr. El Salvador got in his Honda, so we're going to Honduras, and he took a nickel, Nicaragua, to go buy a bay leaf up in Belize and go to Guatemala. How cool is that, right? Mr. El Salvador got in his Honda, Honduras, and he took a nickel, Nicaragua, to go buy a bay leaf, Belize, and go to Guatemala. So one more time, Central America, Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Okay, guys, that does it for week 21 memory work for the new grammar. If you guys need anything, please feel free to email me, text me, call me, and I really hope you guys are having a good time off and staying safe and being well. I hope to see you guys real soon. Bye.